And right now, I mean, you see on Twitter, people are like, oh, they'll never call a white man a terrorist. That's sort of a theme we hear a lot.
Well, it's interesting because we just got a tweet now from the London mayor who is not calling this anything more than a major incident. Here's what he tweeted. Emergency services are on the scene and investigating a major incident at Finsbury Park. Follow Met Police UK and the London Ambulance for details, he writes. So people being very, very cautious, the officials on the ground being very cautious about how they're characterizing exactly what happened. Juliet, when you hear that tweet from the mayor, you and I were speaking earlier that it was interesting that he hadn't said anything, that officials were being so hush-hush. What do you think this is all about? That, I mean, he doesn't even bring up anything about religion and Muslims and the mosque in this tweet.
Right. So this is, this is the gap between social media eyewitness accounts and a public statement. If you look on social media now, what we certainly heard from your eyewitness accounts, even from the reporting, there's a narrative that this was a targeted attack against Muslims leaving a mosque on Ramadan. But proving that right now will take a little bit longer. And so what happens in these situations, having been in the room in government when there is all this information coming out and you just don't know what's true or not, is basically the mayor and the Metropolitan Police have put down a marker to say they are aware of what has happened. They are saving lives. That's the most important thing right now. And then a motive will come later. Presumably they're doing interviews right now of the man who was held and what his motivation was and what he intended to do and why he was there at that time. And whether he was known to police or to the mosque itself, to members of the mosque itself. That may take a few hours. So I'm not at all I'm not at all concerned about that gap. In other words, you're going to hear firsthand accounts. You're going to see on Twitter lots of statements being made. Those have not been validated by law enforcement yet. Doesn't mean that they're not true. It just means that we do hold law enforcement and our mayors to a higher standard than people on Twitter or eyewitness accounts. So we will, as I often say, unfortunately with you, Anna, too many weekend nights lately, time sometimes is not on our side when we want to get the information quickly, but we do have to have some patience. It will be morning soon in London. I anticipate they will need a narrative for people getting on the subway, going to work, leaving their families. And Ramadan is still one more week away. I believe it ends on Saturday night. They have over 1,000 mosques in Britain. They need to assure the community that they are safe, and that all has to happen relatively quickly.
I want to bring in Dean Obeidallah again. And Dean, again, the latest information now, the London mayor saying emergency services are on the scene and investigating a major incident at Finsbury Park. Follow the Metropolitan Police and the London Ambulance for details. And the police and the ambulance are giving very few details, only saying there's a number of casualties after a van hit pedestrians in this area. In fact, the London Metropolitan Police saying it's too early to say if the London collision is a terror incident and that they have one person in custody and say they believe it was the driver of that vehicle. But we've also been speaking to witnesses, and people on the ground there feel very strongly that Muslims were targeted by the person who was driving this van. There is a heightened emotion in that area, as we heard from Phil Black. How would you say is the best way for them to channel this energy and emotion that they're feeling?
I think the biggest thing is to wait and let's find out the facts. And that's easier said than done, because if you look at social media right now, they are telling everyone what happened. They're making conclusions. They may be right. They may be wrong in the long run, but it's certainly ginning up fear. And it's irresponsible. But that's what Twitter is about. And you even have some people on the right in the UK, like Tommy Robinson, a horrible guy on the right out there, literally blaming Muslims for this attack, saying, well, Muslims have attacked us, so this is sort of what they get. And you see this back and forth. And I'm sure in America, if we see certain right-wing people on the media, on Twitter, you're going to see some scary words. But I'll be honest with you, the Muslim community in the UK after the Manchester attack very publicly made it clear they denounced terrorism, did whatever they could to stand unified with their fellow UK citizens, to say we're in all this together. You have the mayor of London, who's a Muslim. It says so much about the people of London that they elected the first major city in the West to have a Muslim mayor is in London. So the people there are good people. Too often, I think, even myself, I fixate on the extreme voices. That doesn't define the people there. And I hope the Muslim community there understands, don't let the right-wing people in the UK define what the people in your own city are about. They voted for Sadiq Khan. They're open-minded. They're embracing. They're tolerant. There's always going to be some haters. And right now, I mean, you see on Twitter, people are like, oh, they'll never call a white man a terrorist. That's sort of a theme we hear a lot. Let's see what happens. If this man is a terrorist, I have no doubt the mayor of London and law enforcement there will deem it a terrorist attack. It turns out it was an accident or it was a man mentally ill. Then so be it. Let's see how it plays out.
Given that Muslims were involved in this incident and that these were people who were leaving a mosque, according to the Muslim Council of Britain, that tweeted out, we have been informed that a van has run over worshippers as they left Finsbury Park Mosque. Our prayers are with the victims. Dean, does it surprise you that the London mayor didn't mention anything about Islam or Muslims in his statement?
I think we're seeing an elected official who is very responsible and measured. I think we have sort of gotten used to something different in America. But I think there was a time when you saw elected officials like Mayor Khan, he's going to wait. There's no reason for him to jump to conclusions. It would be irresponsible for him to say it was one thing or the other. Let's see how the facts go. If it was a terrorist attack, I hope that the law enforcement in the UK will treat it the same way they view it if something is involving an ISIS-inspired attack. What I mean by that is investigate not only the terrorist, his family, friends, make arrests of anybody involved. If there are cells involved of right-wing terrorists in the UK, arrest them, crack down on them if it turns out to be a terrorist attack. I'm not saying it is, but I hope they'll treat it the same. And that makes then the Muslim community there, as well as in the West, around the whole West, feel like, you know, we have the same standard. If you're a Muslim, if you commit a terror attack, you'll be treated this way. And if you're not a Muslim, you commit a terror attack, you'll be treated the exact same way, the same ferocity of investigation, the same pursuit of everyone involved, and you make the arrest and the investigation goes where it's going to go.
And police and the people of London searching for answers, pursuing that information into exactly what happened this evening. It happened just after midnight, where we have learned that a car or a van plowed into pedestrians, according to police, that were leaving a place of worship in that area, a mosque where they were having prayers during this month of Ramadan. This happening on Seven Sisters Road, the Finsbury Park neighborhood. This is north of central London. Reports of a vehicle in collision with pedestrians was the first tweet that police put out. They said they went to the scene with other emergency services. There are a number of casualties who are being worked on at the scene, and that one person has been arrested. And most recent information we're getting from them is that they're still saying it's too early to say if the London collision is a terror incident. It has now been almost 4 hours since this incident first unfolded. CNN international correspondent Ian Lee is joining us again from the scene. And Ian, what's the update from there?
Well, one thing that we've heard from now multiple witnesses is that they believe that there could have been other people in that van. One witness said that he believes that there was at least one more person. Another witness saying that there could have been at least two more people. So if that is the case, definitely the police are going to be trying to look for anyone else who could be connected to this attack, or this incident rather. And when they interrogate the driver, they will hopefully be able to get that kind of information out of them to get a better picture of what exactly happened. It's been about 3 hours now since the incident took place, and you can still see people are gathering here, people still wanting to get answers about what exactly happened tonight. And from witnesses, what they're telling us is that this van careened into a group of people who had just left a mosque after prayer. This van accelerating into that crowd. A number of people hit. At least one person, according to the witness, was unresponsive. And then they were able to get the driver and apprehend him. Still don't know if they pulled him from the van or if he tried to run away from the scene of the incident. But one witness said that people grabbed him. There was they roughed him up a bit, but then people calmed down. They then moved him away from the scene and then were able to hand him over to police. And that is, again, very crucial, Anna, because in incidents like this in the past, and in terrorist attacks in this past, they haven't been able to really apprehend these suspects because they're killed in the incident. And then, so this is crucial to figure out what exactly happened. But as you can see, still 3, 4 in the morning here, people around still wanting to find out what exactly happened in their community. This was a mosque that a lot of people here attended. People knew people who were at the mosque at the time. They just want answers at this point, Anna.
All right, Ian Lee, stand by.
And right now, I mean, you see on Twitter, people are like, oh, they'll never call a white man a terrorist. That's sort of a theme we hear a lot. And right now, I mean, you see on Twitter, people are like, oh, they'll never call a white man a terrorist. That's sort of a theme we hear a lot.